Hi everyone! In today's video I will be sharing 11 tips about your baby's reflexes. There's so many kinds of reflexes and these are really milestones that you can start keeping an eye out for to see when babies achieve them. Just a heads up, not every baby develops these reflexes at the times that I suggest. It's around that time. It could be a month or two before or after that. So these are not concrete dates. If I say this is a reflex that should be developed by 4 months, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your baby in the case it isn't developed at 4 months. Maybe it's developed 4.5 months, at 5 months, whatever it may be. It's very different for each. It's not very different, but it's around that time. So it's definitely a reflex that will, mature or growth for the baby within 4 or that range months versus 12 months. So with that in mind, let's get started. Number 1. The first one is when you touch or rub your baby's cheek. You will notice that your baby will open their mouth and have a sucking motion, and this is called the rooting reflex. Baby outgrows this reflex around 4 months, but you'll start to notice that that they have this type of reflex to do so by nature. The other reflex, similar to the rooting reflex, is the sucking reflex, and this one, baby's a little bit more vigorous. When you put something near their mouth, they will start sucking your finger. It could be a nipple, it could be a pacifier, and this is also a type of reflex that baby will begin to outgrow after 4 months. The next reflex is a very fun one where you will notice your baby will, spread their fingers, they'll throw their arms out, and they'll slightly forward, they will throw their legs out as well. And then they'll quickly draw them into a position when his position is changed. This is called the Moro Reflex, and the baby really outgrows this about within 3 months. The next one is grasping reflex. This is a very common one that most parents learn about and know about, and this is when someone touches baby's hand, they're able to make a fist with their fingers and their palms touching, and baby usually outgrows this reflex 5 to 6 months. The fifth reflex that I want to mention is the startle reflex, and this is something that you will notice more when the Moro reflex that I mentioned earlier starts to fade. So when baby is startled by a loud noise, baby may look frightened, and they might flex their arm and leg. This appears around 3 to 4 months of age and lasts until they're about 1 year old. The next one's also a fun one. It's called the Tonic neck reflex. So this is where your baby will extend their arm and leg outward when you turn their head to one side when they're laying on their back. This reflex is critical during labor especially, and delivery, because it helps the baby twist and kind of wiggle around during the birthing process. But baby outgrows this reflex around 5 months. The 7th reflex is a stepping reflex. This is a very interesting one that it amazes me how it's in our genetics to do this reflex. It's if you hold your baby upright, you'll notice they'll automatically start placing one foot in front of the other. And isn't that bizarre? Like, you didn't teach them to walk or anything. This is you just holding your baby up close to the ground, and they'll start taking a step on their own. And the baby usually outgrows this reflex about 2 months, around that time. So try carrying them a bit before that and see. Just notice this, and it's incredible. The next one is the crawling reflex. It's very simple as the name is, crawling reflex. This is when you put your baby on their tummy, they'll start moving as if they were crawling, but they're not crawling, but just on the ground. They're kind of just getting to that step, and they usually outgrow this about in 3 months. Following this, the ninth reflex is a swimming reflex. This is where the baby actually holds their breath and moves as if they were swimming if you put them underwater. Babies outgrow this reflex in about 6 months. So you'll notice that some parents do put their kids for swimming very young, like before 6 months, and those will easily learn to swim because they have that reflex and they build on that. The 10th reflex I want to talk about is the Nasal reflex. This is when you tap the bridge of your baby's nose, they will close their eyes. This reflex disappears in about 4 months, but it's a simple tap and they'll close your eyes. Isn't that interesting? So try that out. And the last reflex I want to talk about is the parachute reflex, and this occurs if the baby feels like they're falling. You'll notice the baby try to grab onto something over their head because they think they're gonna fall, and this appears around 3 months and it lasts until they're about 1 year old. So those are all the types of reflexes I wanted to share with you. And in addition to these various reflexes, a newborn has a very strong grip, and to the point that their grip is so strong that they can support their own weight. But again, these reflexes are things that babies develop around the timelines of said, or they might disappear at the timelines that is said, but it's different for each baby, so don't take it too seriously. These are just general guidelines. I hope this helps, and please share any other reflexes that I might have missed down in the comments below. Thank you.